who I am? I'm a dude playing a dude disguised as another dude.
Strength and honor, strength and honor, strength and honor.
Hello. My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Why so serious?
I could crush you like a worm. At my signal, unleash hell.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Hello.
All right. Hey, everyone. Happy Monday. It's time to attack the week. We've got a lot of stuff to cover for the show since we didn't have one on Friday. And sorry for not having that, but logistics just did not work out on the road where that was going to be possible.
We were sparing you some Baby B in the background.
Yeah. So, ton of breaking news going on today. The active shooter in Boulder, Colorado is the first thing that's on our minds. You know, even though people think that this sounds hollow, but our thoughts and prayers and our hearts are with the victims, their loved ones, and the law, you know, and first responders who are there. I don't know anything about it so far. They're not saying much other than I saw them bring a, you know, what looked like a bald white guy with a beard with his shirt off, covered in blood. You know, his leg was covered in blood, some blood on this thing, and, you know, his pants are off. I don't know if he was in his underwear or what. I couldn't tell, boxer shorts or, you know, compression shorts or whatever. From what we're being told, he was the shooter because he's the only injured person that they said that went to the hospital. And there appears to be more victims. So that means usually casualties. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but we're going to guess that there were some.
Yes. I think it's confirmed that there are, but they are not releasing the numbers. So,
you know, again, we've been kind of society, not us per se, and not you as Patriot Crusaders and, you know, the Christian, you know, protectors that you are. We know that you guys don't let your guard down, and you know, it's always just a matter of time till one of these things happen. And then this will lead me into the next story where a black guy, I think he was in his 30s or 40s, stabbed a 12-year-old kid in the McDonald's line, screaming racial obscenities, calling, you know, everyone white devils and white Satan and white N-word and all those things. So there's a lot to talk about tonight with those two things, but I'd like to open with a prayer for the victims and for the first responders and for everyone else out there right now. So, dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we come to you now with concern and sad hearts for another an act of violence where lives were taken and countless lives will be, you know, affected by this. Lord, we ask that you wrap your loving arms around the victims and their loved ones and bring them comfort and peace. Lord, we also ask that you bless law enforcement and protect them as well as, you know, they deal with dangerous situations like this, you know, all around the country. So we pray all these things in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Amen.
Shall we hit the intro?
Yep. Now we'll hit the intro. Thanks, Lauren, for reminding me. All right. Welcome to Patriot Crusader Mission, Christian Warrior Talk.
Hi, Steven, and hi, John. Thanks for joining us on YouTube.
Hey, it's good to see you guys over on YouTube. So let me talk about what we're going to talk about the show. We're going to talk about the active shooter, obviously, what we know and what we know about active shooters, which that's our real job. Terry, that's our real day job, the one thing that pays money. And then, we'll talk about the stabbing in McDonald's. We'll talk about the Chosen schedule update, the release of season 2.
Yep.
We'll talk about the immigration crisis. We'll talk about Biden sending vaccines to Canada and Mexico and not vaccinating Border Patrol. We'll talk about the Boston bomber death penalty. And then we'll end with how to start a Christian small group.
Yeah.
So we had a really successful one. So we've got, again, a lot of those topics. I hope we wrap them all. We get through them all. Some of these things are pretty passionate. And we got to talk about our Jerky review.
Yeah.
So
are you going to dive right into that?
No, because I'm going to get to that. But we're going to do it towards the end, I think.
Okay.
So our friends and supporters from Flawless Jerky sent us a ton of jerky to review for this. And, it looks like Lauren already opened them. Like, why is the logo cut in half? Because I wanted to show the logo. But he's a vet and a believer and a small company. And he asked me, again, he's not, we don't charge for advertising here. We're just going to, review a fellow vet's company and see how it is. So and I'll get into these. He gave me a bunch of different ones, and they all sound amazing. I'm hoping none of them are too spicy, or else you'll see my Irish palate shine through.
Hi, Victor.
Hey, Victor. Good to see you. Hey, John. Good to see you. So let's go over our personal update.
Yeah.
So the reason why we weren't on the show on Friday is Thursday we had some houses come on the market in Johnson City, Tennessee, that we didn't think were going to stick around, and we dropped everything and drove 5 hours down there, and neither of them we didn't put an offer in time for either of them to really work. One had 8 offers on it.
Yeah. Inevitably kind of when things, they can make listings look very shiny, So when you get down there and you see kind of everything that's around it, the one that we were really like, wow, this is amazing, wasn't quite as amazing when you were on the ground.
Yeah.
And so we weren't devastated to not even put an offer in. That was the one that had 8. And then the other one, we kept going back and forth and putting an offer in, and we were pretty much there. And then we double checked internet, and it just doesn't have what we need to really push the podcast.
Right.
So
just so you guys understand, we're rocking this on 40 megs right now, with about 3.5 upload speed, sometimes a 5. And that's why we have to stream in 720 to you
and
guys.
If the wind blows or the rain
and
comes
as you guys
down
have
or
seen, there's some
anything.
latency issues. So the next house we buy is going to be on like, a 1 gig down at minimum.
Yeah.
And hopefully like a 20 gig or 20 megs or 40 megs up.
Podcasting is
because
the
it
way
takes
of the future for our
exactly.
employment, we are hoping. So.
Yeah, thank you, Darren. I absolutely believe that. Good to see you. So,
hi, Jill. I'm assuming that you're.
Yep, Darren and Jill. I hope you're both, doing well. I was just texting with Darren
They've
beforehand.
been
All this.
super awesomely helpful.
Yeah.
With making sure we're not homeless.
Yeah. So it's pretty, intimidating looking at, we're going to be home. The house.
Okay. Oh wait. So
that's right.
As of when did we last do a show? We did a show Wednesday night. No. Yes, we did a show Wednesday night, and we were quite concerned because we had our inspection. Our inspection was Wednesday morning, and we didn't have the results of that yet. And it was the same inspector as the one that totally pooped all over our house last summer. Is the nicest way I can put it. And our buyers didn't really want it, so they weren't willing to kind of work with it. And so we were like, oh, God, what's going on here? And so we were anticipating that we were going to have to go into negotiations or maybe the house back on the market and all this stuff. And we get a call. We were on the road on Thursday because we were like, we just have to go down to Tennessee. We can't wait around. And they're like, well, they just want your mower. We're
Done.
like, what? That's it?
And we're like,
they
done.
want the mower? They have the mower.
Yeah,
so
amazing
God
family
is
that's
great.
buying this house.
They want it.
You know,
they're going to love it. They're gonna
well,
love
they
it.
put an offer in with it as is an inspection, and I just want to thank and praise them for being people of their word.
Yes.
You know, they didn't come back and try to do whatever. They stuck to their word. They knew we took it off the market rapidly for them. I mean, we sold in an hour.
Yeah.
And, you know, we encountered another, I think he's a vet, another veteran with some integrity. So, you know, I hope if you guys ever watch this or if you found out because you looked at the house and you saw all the stuff around here, I hope you guys love this house as much as we do. This house is a special place in our heart, and we absolutely love it. And if we could take it with us to Tennessee, we would, because nothing in Tennessee is touching this house right now.
No, not even.
Not even. The market there is out of control. But
that's all to say, praise God, but we're going to be homeless.
We're going to be homeless on
April
the
29th.
April 29th. So not next week, a month from next week.
Yeah. So we are scrambling. And so we've been talking up Tennessee, obviously, for weeks, months now. And we went down for a more deliberate scouting. We've switched from thinking that we were renting to now trying to buy. And the market down there is nuts. Like I mean, we experienced that with our house selling so quickly, and they're getting that tenfold there. And prices are just out of control on these. As Jason said, if it has 4 walls and it's standing, they're charging hundreds of thousands for it.
Yeah.
So we'll see. We're having to kind of relook at priorities and figure out what does make the most sense.
There's a good chance we might be pushing towards Nashville. So, you know, I keep broadening the search area. Nashville would be fantastic for business.
Yeah.
It'd be fantastic for a destination place.
Mm-hmm.
It would be, I mean, there's a ton of security work there for me.
I know if Donatella's listening, she'll say Jason's like, would you consider West Virginia again? So if she's listening, then
yeah, we actually, you know, are, but you know,
we were the Johnson
stressing.
City area.
We really do love the Johnson City area. It's not a small city like they try to tell you that it is. I mean, it's a city.
Yeah.
Or they try to say it's like
a big footprint. It's a big small town. It's a big town.
You know, it's almost the size of Richmond, I think. No,
60-something thousand.
Yeah.
So it's bigger than Charlotte. It's bigger than city Charlottesville.
Well, Charlottesville's really a small city like this. It's footprint.
Yeah.
Whereas Johnson City seems pretty spread out.
Yeah.
So there's just some advice for all of you guys who are following us down to Tennessee. And it's a buyer beware situation.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So because the market is absolutely going insane right now down there, everyone who's got a lemon is put it on the market.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's they border train tracks or they have power lines or they have a power station right next to them.
Or they're next to the resident junkyard.
Or they're next to with freedom comes consequences, and you'll have a nice house, and then your 2 next door neighbors won't be just trailers, which is, I'm fine with trailers, but it'll be junkyards, or it'll look like they use their yard as the dump.
Yeah.
And
so you have to dig through Google Map photos, just look at every single
drive
angle.
by everything. So people who are buying stuff sight unseen, there's a lot of things you're not going to be able to pick up.
And there have been multiple ones. He's like, this is it. And then it's like, then looking closer, it's like, wait, nope, that's a train track. That's literally in their backyard.
Those are power lines directly over the house.
Scott.
Yeah. Hey,
so
Chris, good to see you, brother.
It's been a bummer because that's eliminated. We're not so desperate that we're willing to accept a lot of those issues at this point. So it's been a bummer because there's been some fantastic properties, and then you're like, that's why it's priced in that.
But as of tonight, I'm going to officially start looking towards Nashville. I mean, there's a great church in Nashville with Greg Locke.
Greg Locke, yeah.
Which, holy smokes, let's get into that.
Okay.
So, Pastor Wars again. Greg Locke, if you haven't seen, he just went live tonight. and he went thermonuclear on Andy Stanley again, and he actually went after Franklin Graham a little bit. I mean, he said, like I respect and love Franklin Graham. I think he's a great champion for Christ, but he either did an interview or did something in a some
video statement.
Yeah, a statement telling pastors that they should tell people from the pulpit to get the vaccine. And the quote that he said that if Jesus were alive on earth today, he would get the vaccine. And one, how can you say what Jesus would do?
So Greg Locke, the pastor, kind of went off on a live stream tonight about it.
Yeah. From it. And then, and again, he likes him and he went all the reasons. Like, it's for me, I've got a lot of people out there on both sides of this issue, including family and dear friends. To me, it's all about personal choice. We live in a free country. If you want to get the vaccine, that's great.
Yeah.
Go for it. I hope a lot of you do. That way I'll get to see how it works on you guys. But for them to sit there and say it's perfectly safe, they said Zantac was perfectly safe, and it was on the shelf for 20 years, and now it's tied to cancer, and you can't even buy it.
Yeah.
They said that, talcum powder was safe, and that, it's just time after time. It takes a while to go through all the variables, guys. What's the effects on pregnancy? This thing was done in 10 months. Or sooner, 7 months.
Oh, and there have been miscarriages that people are saying are associated with the timing of getting the vaccine and stuff. Still small numbers, but I think it's to each their own. And I think what we're seeing is just this public shaming of people who choose to not get the vaccine yet or at all. And if we're respecting people's choice to get the vaccine, that needs to go both ways. And I think that's just as with so many other things, kind of the respect of someone else's opinion is not there anymore. Yeah. And so I think that's unfortunate. And I think for people in a position of power and respect to come out and say it in a way that people might kind of feel intimidated to follow, or they look up to that person, and it's not really their place to say something medical, of medical advice like that. I think is especially what Greg Locke was. So
here's my thing with churches closing. If you're not in Maine in the blizzard, or I guess not Boulder, but a friend of ours in Colorado just got hit with a massive snowstorm in Colorado Springs, and you have different weather. Why aren't you doing church outside? Like those parking lot churches and all that. Why are you not at least doing that?
Yeah.
Again, it's for everyone's choice. If you're high risk, stay at home.
Yeah.
Right. I get that. Or go in the car and be out in the parking lot. Like what Ken was doing when this first started. I thought that was fantastic. I enjoyed the service outside more because it was different. It was out in nature. It wasn't in a building.
Yeah.
A stiff building. They're all stiff. Like no building is ever going to match God's creations, right?
Yeah.
So particularly in the South, you could be outside right now with plenty of social distancing, with almost a 0% chance of transmission, getting God's word. But you get a bunch of lazy pastors and priests and everything else, and they're not doing anything. It's like school teachers. It's a vacation.
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous. So again, I'm for if people want to go inside, the young, fit, healthy people who are just like, hey, I'm not worried about it. You do a service for them inside. Out, if you got your high risk people who still want to come, and because they still are craving that sight, that identity, that there, then you do it outside. Another step could be the cars, right? Yep. All those different things are great. But the thing is that's it's so crazy about this is I bet you, and I don't know what the numbers are, I bet you have a higher chance of dying in a car wreck leaving your house than you have of the average citizen going out today and leaving their house in COVID.
Probably. I mean, I don't
so
know.
Do we shut down the world because car driving's dangerous?
That's the whole argument about all of this stuff, about why aren't we reacting the same way for any of the other things that we could influence by shutting the world down over, which is what the people who say this is all an overreaction are trying to articulate. Chris Scott comment, isn't it funny that the FDA wouldn't approve drugs in the 80s and 90s for people dying of AIDS because of lack of testing, but now they're pushing an unproven drug?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, they're not against vaccines. They just don't want to be on the round 1 version of it, which I think is perfectly reasonable. I'm kind of in the camp. You obviously know that we're hoping to get pregnant, and I'm not going to take it right now when at any month I could be pregnant and not know it. And I'm not comfortable with where they are with the vaccine right now, and being guaranteed that there is no side effect to that. I'm going to wait. And honestly, I mean, a lot of people are saying I'm getting a lot of pressure from family. You know, isn't it worse to get the virus than the vaccine if you're pregnant? And I think a lot of the issue is more what's all of the components around that are the vector for the vaccine versus the actual little piece of virus in there itself. I know a lot of people got the virus as pregnant and they're fine. And it's a lot of the stuff that goes along with the vaccine that can cause the problem to
yeah, and I mean, I don't know if there's a connection between autism and vaccines. I know that there's a lot of people that say there aren't, and there are a lot of people that say they are. I'm saying that I don't think they would tell you. I don't trust them to tell me either way. Yeah. Because they're not going to sit there and they'll say, okay, autism isn't fatal. Autism, you know, which has gone up 700% or whatever the ridiculous number is. Something's causing it. And either it's the vaccines or it's something, but until they can connect it to something, all things are plausible. We just haven't found the connection yet.
Yeah.
So, you know, doing a slow roll on vaccines or anything like that, it's up to everyone to figure out, right? It's your choice. You do what you do, what's right for your family. Don't let them pressure you, you know, because God forbid if something happens, what's that going to do to your relationship with them? Yeah. Like, can you imagine if your parents pressured you into having a vaccine and something happened with our baby and it was tied to that?
Yeah, I mean,
it would be like, you know, it'd be on, you know? But, you know, so again.
It's truly to each their own, and it's just unfortunate that, of course, our culture, we like to get in everyone else's business. So we don't like the to each their own method anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, and I just, you know, it's just gotten to the point now, particularly with Democrats in office, I don't trust anyone anymore. I don't trust any organization. The CDC lied. The World Health Organization lied. They've all been wrong all over the place. I mean, who hasn't been wrong 16 times in this thing? You know, they've all flip-flopped from masks to gloves to airborne to not. And, you know, and so again, if they tell you that they know something, they're lying because they don't know anything. You know, particularly about this, it's true. So anyways, I went off. I don't remember why I went off on that whole tangent. Oh,
well, we were talking
because
about
the pastor wars.
Yeah.
And then he called, you know, Andy Stanley the biggest coward, you know, in the faith or something like that. He just totally, he's like, you have 40 million in the bank and you can stay closed and you can do all this stuff, you know, and all that. And he's just like, he just took a flamethrower to him, and it was great to see.
To make poor Andy Stanley is in his sights.
Yeah, exactly.
It seems.
You know, said he doesn't hold a candle to his father, and blah blah. I'm just, whoo! It was some rough stuff there. So good on him for doing that. I was talking to Ken because I shared it with Ken. Ken hadn't seen it, and he had just texted him to give him support on that.
Funny.
So does this mean, hey, Jason, do you not like Franklin Graham? No, I love Franklin Graham and I respect him. Disagreeing on one thing is not going to turn me from someone or undo all the great they've done in the world. I think he misspoke. I mean, I think he shouldn't have said what he said. And I don't know if you have, I've only heard about this through what Greg Locke just shared in this video. So I would like to, before I form any other opinion, would like to go and see exactly what he said and in what context, to make sure that it's I just don't think, like, they have an alliance with Samaritan's Purse. They support it. You know, he did a lot of stuff on there saying how fond he is of Franklin. So I don't think he would have entered into this lightly. He went into this because he was telling pastors to preach it from the pulpit that they should go do it, and they shouldn't be doing that. You know, I don't think they should be doing that. All right, let's get back into the active shooter, guys. So for those of you who are newer to the program, I haven't been watching in a while, you know, we haven't had one of these things come up, big news in a while. You know, our philosophy here is always be prepared, always have a plan, and be ready to act, right? You got to always be aware of your surrounding, guys. Situational awareness does not go away, whether you're with your family in the inner city or, in your downtown in Pittsburgh in a McDonald's line with your 4 people in your family, and there's some raven dude out there who then stabs your 12-year-old child in the neck.
Yeah.
Right? Screaming white devil and, white Satan and white N-word. And then you notice that he's on top of your kid. This guy tackles him off his kid. He gets cut up, all while being called racial slurs, right? And here's the disgusting part about the press, right? If the races were reversed in this, it would be white man attacks black 12-year-old kid screaming racial obscenities. Yeah. Instead, they bury it. Fox News was the only one who covered this accurately. I searched everywhere. They're the only one who do that. It's in the police report, and that's how they got it, because he was doing it to the cops while he was fighting them too.
Calling them.
Yeah, calling them all, insulting their race and all that stuff. And that's why it just, like, when you don't call balls and strikes both ways, it just breeds animosity and more hate. And they're doing it to protect, against racism, against the black population. And again, I am a Christian nationalist. I love Jesus and I love America. I don't care what color you are. But you have to understand, as a security expert, blacks attack whites far more than whites attack blacks. Black on white crime is out of control. I saw it all day, every day in Boston. Does that mean all black people are good? Are bad? No. Does that mean all white people are good? No. It's just a statistical reality.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to understand, which is what I teach is profiling during our class. What's a profile, right? Is this person capable of harming me, right? I didn't mention race, gender, creed, color, nothing. And then cross-reference it with current events that you know to be real, right? Yep. So if you know there's gang violence going on there, there's a bunch of people, in red colors, and you're wearing blue colors, you're in the wrong place. You're literally the red ant that went into the black ant's net by accident, and you're going to get smoked. That's nature. That's life. That's the way it works. Yeah. And just teaching people that you stop being stupid and stop trying to be PC and protect yourself. Protect your family.
Yeah.
How many girls have been raped or kids knocked out or lives forever changed because they didn't want to offend? Offend away. You're stupid for not offending.
Especially with women victim crimes. A lot of rape victims didn't want to offend the person approaching them.
Yeah.
Even when they got that spidey sense.
How many girls have been date raped because they didn't want to offend, or, all those other things, right? It's just so much stuff out there. We just really, you know what's dangerous and what's not. And if you don't, shame on your parents. And that's what I hope you guys are watching this show for, is to be able to understand that it's okay to tell your kids, if you're the only person who looks like you, you're in trouble in your neighborhood, in that neighborhood. Your risk is higher. If you're a guy dressed in like Russian clothes, right? Like meaning like a Russian sports teams, and you're walking through a Polish neighborhood, you will be in trouble.
Yeah.
Right? These are just natural things that have happened since the beginning of time.
I think
people get killed for sports.
Yeah.
People get killed at sports games for wearing a stupid wrong jersey. Right? What's more useless than pro sports? Nothing. No one cures cancer. No matter who wins, whether Tom Brady wins his 10th ring or not, cancer isn't cured.
Yeah.
Right? Peace doesn't break out. He just gets richer. He doesn't know my name. He doesn't care about me. He's probably a great guy. But it doesn't matter. But people will kill you, and people have died or have been paralyzed because they got beat down because they voted for the wrong sports team. So if they're willing to do that, what will they do for sex? What will they do for drugs? What will they do for a political ideology that has 100% consumed them?
Yeah.
The answer is there's nothing they won't do.
That's where we are these days, yeah. We certainly see it all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, as far as that attack on that kid, that's so horrific. I can't imagine being there, especially as a parent, and seeing that happen to your kid.
Thanks, Victor.
So he's okay, right? He survived. The kid did.
Well, he wasn't critical, and now he's stabilized.
Yeah.
So, but he's going to be free. I don't know what happened. I don't know what they covered. I don't know. Just praise God that he's alive.
Yeah.
You know, I've stumbled upon this, you know, where an innocent kid in Roxbury, Mission Hill, was, you know, I spoke about this not too long ago, where his grandfather died and he was a freshman in college, and he was going to his brother's dorm, and, you know, 3 black guys got out, robbed him of his stuff. He complied 100%, and they stabbed him anyways.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why? Just to be mean.
And the question is, I mean, obviously, as you said, if the roles were reversed, this would be run up the ladder as a hate crime and how it's charged. And so you just wonder, is this going to be given the same treatment? Is he going to be charged with a hate crime? A lot of people like to say that racism can't go the other way. And so, you know, hopefully the justice system will see it as such.
Yeah, I just hope, just if you imagine if it had been the other way, it'd be on every talk show, it'd be everything, and it'd be Donald Trump's America, and, you know, racism and blah 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 and all this other stuff. And there's none of that. They purposefully mute black crime. They purposefully undercut it, underreport it, don't say anything. Only in the most horrible circumstances come out, and it's barely even mentioned. Whereas it's the lead descriptor. If they just said man kills boy, you know, whatever, and they never gave the descriptor, that would be fair. But they always do the other way around.
Say it the other way. Yeah. Same with police shootings. Same with active shooters. They love to say it was a white male.
Hey, Chris, I don't have the link, but if you Google man stabs 12-year-old boy in McDonald's, it'll come right up. Go to the Fox News article. You'll see there's going to be 40 articles, and the only one who describes it appropriately is Fox News. So let's get in here. I'm blaming the vaccine for my baldness issue. John, I don't think it causes that. That's one I'm pretty sure. I think that's...
does the timeline add up there, John? You're gonna need some evidence that you were just recently bald.
I mean, were you bald when you got your? I mean, well, a couple things. Were you bald as a kid when you got your vaccines, or did you just have a bunch of hair and you just got the vaccine and your hair fell out?
We're gonna go with that. It did not cause your baldness.
What's been done in the name of safety behind this scamdemic is nothing shy of evil. It is China's attempt. So here's what I believe about the vaccine. This is what I believe. I can't prove it. Fact check me, whatever. I believe it was a bioweapon designed by the Chinese for a couple things.
Virus, you're saying?
Yeah, the virus.
Sorry,
I'm sorry, I misspoke. The virus, I believe, was made by the Chinese to control their population. They have the oldest aging population on the planet, and it's going to be incredibly expensive for them to keep them alive. So they cook up a disease that only kills old people. Right? That gets rid of all their healthcare issues. All these people who went from producers to consumers only. And at the same time, they unleash it on the rest of the world because they know we're cowards and will stop living. Right? If they can just push a certain narrative, right, we'll shut down the whole world with something that has a fatality rate, you know, of 0.00 whatever the percentage is, right? So they know they could cripple the world economically, right? Level the playing field, accelerate them to world dominance, fix an election because no one can handle this thing right, right? And put a Democrat in office that they own with, let's say, a guy who they have probably days of video of him, you know, raping little girls and doing drugs over in China, named Hunter Biden. You know, I mean, that's literally what we're dealing with right now. I mean, that video's out there, and the fact that all these great reporters who are now like, oh my God, the Biden administration won't let us see the border. For the first time in history, people, the press is not allowed to ride with Border Patrol. Why is that? All these pictures of these kids in cages and all that stuff, they're all being taken from the Mexico side with telephoto lenses because they won't let them do it here. That is your Democrat Party. That is your Democrat Party doing that to you. The totalitarian dictator government, communist government that we currently live under, that you so thought was great because Trump was mean. Trump let everyone in everywhere. 100% transparent. And Biden hasn't done a press conference yet.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I remember
Come
seeing,
on, man.
I remember seeing some comments kind of back in the beginning of the Biden administration when they started doing press conferences from Democrats on my page being like, oh, finally doing press conferences again. And it's so refreshing to, have access and transparency. And it's like, there was before. So you clearly
like
just you were watching your mainstream media pretending there wasn't. But it's like, how is that working for you now?
Trump was too transparent. He went out there and went toe-to-toe to them every day. They don't have any access anymore, and they made this monster.
Well, I think, and you're starting to see some whispers and irritation even among the left media. It's not going to be enough to...
I hold them all personally responsible.
Well, sure.
Like, I hold them all personally responsible. You elected a guy with dementia who is never going to finish the office. And here's what I think is going to happen with Biden, right? He's going to do some very unpopular stuff. And they're going to make him do some very unpopular stuff. And then he's going to step down, and Kamala will be the one to save the day so that she can get reelected. That's what I think is going to happen. I think that they're setting him up to be the fall guy, right? Mm-hmm. And basically he's going to do a sweeping of all these things they want to get done. And then Kamala, whatever the heck you say, or Harris.
Racist.
Yeah, whatever. Is going to be able to say, I didn't do that. That was Joe. Mm-hmm. And then be able to play both sides of the fence. And dumb Democrats will fall for it again. Because she's going to be so nice. Trump's so mean.
First woman president.
Yeah. So, again, it's catastrophic, which is why we're moving south.
Well, and what was, so we were talking about how crazy the market is in Tennessee, and we were talking to multiple agents and other just locals kind of on how they feel about people everyone moving to the town. Are they nervous? And to the agents, kind of, is it the right people moving? And they said, yeah, it's the conservatives coming in and buying all this property. It's people with the same mindset as what we've been talking about. So at least it's not the blue New Yorkers, blue Los Angeles people coming in and trying to change the place. It's the people fleeing. So that's good. That's good that it's not being diluted.
Yeah, totally.
Polluted.
Well, I mean, that was the most encouraging thing we heard. So one, let me tell you that as far as John, I don't think I even smelled a Democrat there. I don't think I was within 100 yards of a Democrat at any time.
Everyone was very nice.
Everyone was very nice. It was all
sweet.
America. Like, we're going to look at houses, and we were encountering people that were fleeing North Carolina because they're afraid that that's going to go blue to move to Tennessee.
Yeah.
Tennessee and Florida are the top two destinations for conservatives right now.
Yeah, so get it while it's hot, because there might not be any places left soon.
Yeah, exactly.
Or wait and get it when everyone else gets kicked out of their house because they're broke.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, it was great to be around patriots. I mean, walking into restaurants and seeing tables praying all over the place was great.
Just not a lot of mask wearing going on down there. There were signs just because they're required to on all the doors. And stuff,
most people just totally blew off masks.
Yeah.
And guess what? People weren't just falling over and dying. It was like, oh my God, is COVID deadly? I mean, I was at the Million MAGA March, and then I was at the 6th, and that was 1 million plus people there.
I don't know anything about Tennessee's rates compared to anywhere else. I'm guessing that they probably are experiencing like what Florida and all these other states that have been somewhat maskless the entire time, and they're no worse and often better than the other areas of the country that are more shut down. So
it's again, people are so afraid to die, they stop living. Yep. And people got to look at themselves in the mirror and decide what it is that's important to them. And be smart. Am I telling you to go through the COVID ward in a hospital dancing without a mask and huffing everyone's ET tubes? No, I'm not telling you.
Well, and it's certainly obviously it is a serious problem,
without a doubt,
risk for certain populations. So respect that, know that. If that's your loved one, respect the way that they're managing it, and everyone else.
That's why I don't judge anybody who wants to wear a mask. I salute them for having the courage to wear one. If you remember when this whole thing went down, I was the only loser in full gear walking around because I didn't know what this was.
Yep.
Right? I was literally that guy. I was the one freaking everyone out in Harris Teeter with 3 layers of sweatpants on, double gloves, but like big, like gloves on. I had goggles on. I had, my mask on, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Hey, Brandy, good to see you.
Anyways.
Yeah, well, New Yorkers and Massachusetts people the North is screwing up a lot of places, including Maine, even more so than than that. But the good news is Tennessee's only going to get more red.
Looks like it.
Yeah. So let's see here. So William said, "I'm too old to have a vaccine to change my DNA and be called Wilhelmina." And then William said, "If I offend someone that messes with my daughter with an old double-barrel 8-gauge goose gun loaded with cut-up bolts with my 2 attack-trained 90-pound pit bulls as backup, get some."
Sounds about right, William.
Awesome, William. So what else? Shampoo offends bald people. Cancel Head and Shoulders. Let's see what else we got. Bidentown, USA. And then here's William. Biden will not be allowed by his handlers to go to the border to be around children unless on a leash. It's true. He'll be in a sniffing, creepy sniffing spree.
You just kind of have to laugh. It's so bad.
Yeah.
You just have to laugh.
You are pulling out calves, not showing off. PPP. I don't know. Victor, you're always on another planet when you type in here. Sometimes I just wish you'd speak plainly. So as far as the next story we want to get into was Biden sending vaccines to, you figure the border right now is this massive crisis, guys. They slipped and called it a crisis the other day, and Jen Psaki. It's just so stupid. So it is an ultimate nightmare, and and they are letting, if COVID's such a big deal, why are they letting people in with COVID? Just totally releasing people with COVID. Yeah,
I mean, it goes against their narrative, but also stopping people at the border goes against their narrative. So yeah, they're kind of in a bind.
And then the cages that Trump used, that Obama built and used before, look like Trump Hotel compared to what they got now, which is these plexiglass cages, walls, cells, whatever you want to call them. And there were 12 of them at a time packed in there with their little sleeping on mats with aluminum emergency blankets. It is disgusting. How's that for your photo op? And how's that, Democrats? Compassion, right? How much suffering and how much death are you going to cause over this? That is the real key, and compassion is the weapon of the enemy when it's taken to the extreme. Compassion is what the left has, or they pretend to have, and compassion is what is absolutely too often abused.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then I saw millions, 80-something million dollars spent on hotel rooms for illegals who've crossed over. And then I'm seeing that kind of compared to the pictures of the National Guard sleeping on the floor of a parking garage, being so they're willing to put these people up in hotel rooms and not our troops.
Yeah, where is AOC in a pathetic picture op where she, gets the soap and gets the tears going, and it's not even in the same area? I think Democrats could be the dumbest people on the planet. They think they're so smart with their higher education that they can outsmart God. Literally, they keep trying to redefine reality because they can't win in the current one. So let's change reality. Let's live in alternate universes where I can be a girl and you can be a boy. I could be a lion and you could be a zebra.
Why do I have to be the prey animal?
All right.
I don't like this arrangement.
I can be a tiger and you can be a lioness.
All right.
Whatever. All right. So whatever. You got my point. You can be a unicorn.
Perfect.
There you go. So anyways, instead of, you have all this heavy COVID traffic coming through. So you think they would protect the Border Patrol, right, and immunize all those agents? Nope. They're being left out. Why? Because they all voted Trump. They came out and supported Trump. They spoke out and they're being penalized. So instead, we're going to send vaccines to Canada and Mexico instead of taking care of our own people.
Oh, put that in the And the laundry
I
list of
volunteer
ways that
my
they-
vaccine to the Border Patrol agents. They can take mine. Which the VA called me to try to pressure me into taking one.
Oh, yeah.
Just calling you to schedule your COVID vaccine today. I won't be doing that. Are you sure? Do you not want it? Is it not a good time? I'm like, I'm all set.
Yeah. We'll see if they call you back.
I'm sure they will.
Well, it's like every time I went in, it's their policy when I was pregnant, and every single appointment, which gets very frequent at the end, they have to ask if I want my flu shot. I want to be like, can you just put in record, stop asking?
Yeah.
Like, not interested, not going to get it right now. Thank you.
Yeah, I've seen that, Chris. We should all go to Mexico, give up our U.S. citizen, cross the border back into the country so we can live like kings and queens. Completely agree. Completely agree. So anyways, so much more stuff to go. I'm like blowing through all this stuff. So there's some good news out of Boston, which doesn't happen often. The Supreme Court is taking up the case to turn the Boston bombers' death penalty to a death penalty case because there's no death penalty in Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
But I find it funny that now that Massachusetts wants it to happen,
That's interesting.
right? Because it attacked one of their icons, right? If someone just murdered you or did whatever, that's not bad enough. But you talk to Boston Marathon,
Yeah.
It's bad enough then that we're willing to embrace the death penalty. I hope they put them in the high-speed lane.
What do you think is going to happen there?
I think they'll try him and give a death penalty, and he'll sit in a cage for 40 years before they do it. It takes too darn long. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
we have a Chosen update.
Oh, yes. Go ahead, Lauren.
So if you haven't seen, we've been stalking their page for updates to find out when they're going to launch season 2. And so they put out, they did a live stream the other day, and they're in a bit of a struggle. So this is actually, if you want to support them, they are way behind schedule and over budget because COVID cost so much money for them to be able to shoot the season while managing all of the COVID protocols and stuff. And then they went to Texas because they thought that Texas would be an easy place to shoot. And they went during like the apocalypse week in Texas. So they were good stewards of all of their actors and stuff. And they paid everyone who was basically on standby waiting for this weather. So they paid people for a week that they didn't work, and then they had to pay them for the week that they actually did work. So they are, if you want to donate to them and help, they said that they had hoped to be funded through season 3 or into season 3 right now.
They were, and I was trying to find on their page, and it's not showing anymore.
They're like, season 3 is not happening right now. It's going to happen, but they're like, the money's not there at the moment. Anyways, they are launching episode 1 for season 2 on Easter. And that's all they've got right now. They are scrambling to finish, and they said that they're basically just going to give them to us as soon as they have them finished. So it's not going to be a consistent schedule or access to all of them at once. They're like, it could be 2 weeks between episodes, and then we might have a couple back-to-back ones, but as soon as they're done editing it, they are going to send it out. So watch the first one on Easter, and then monitor their YouTube or their app so you get notified when the next ones. We'll let you know when we see that the next ones are coming out. So soon, it'll be soon, which is so exciting.
I'm so pumped, and we're going to get to watch it on Saturday.
Yeah, we donated. We were in the group of donations that we get early release a day ahead.
Yeah, so we're pumped.
We can review it for you.
We
won't be spoiler alerts, we promise.
We'll probably be watching it for the 3rd time by then.
But we'll have to watch this season 1 again.
So next week is literally our week. That's what we should do. We should watch a Chosen episode every day next week.
Easter's the 4th.
4th.
Easter's the 4th. So this is our last week building up to Easter. We have this upcoming weekend, and then the next Sunday is okay.
So we should start it soon and bang them all out.
I just went into mommy mode. I was like, Easter B's gonna like understand Easter this year, kinda. Get her a basket. Jelly bean trail.
Oh man, gummy bears.
She'll love jelly beans.
Yeah, she'll love
jelly beans
as well. So, so the Chosen coming out. I'm really looking forward to that.
It's gonna be great.
The season I'm dreading is the season that they
Season
crucified Jesus.
7.
That's like season
Season
7. They've
7.
already said it. And man, so it's all great until season 7, and then
Yeah.
we're ready
you
to
know
get
what's
your
coming.
heart ripped out. It's kind of like watching Vikings when you know Ragnar Lothbrok is gonna get smoked.
Yeah.
We dread it. We pushed that off for like a year and a half.
He's like, I'm ready. We can watch it again. I'm ready.
Wrong night, strengthen on. But I'll strengthen on you with some water, man. I already
Tea.
killed my coffee.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
All
We
right.
have some jerky to review.
We have some jerky to review, and hopefully he's on here. So, Flawless Jerky, are you on yet? I've been waiting for him to come on. He just asked me for the handle for a link to our YouTube channel, and I just said search for Patriot Crusader Mission. So, Flawless Jerky, when you're here, let us know because I want you to see us. I'll ask you which one you want me to test first.
So we love being able to support Christian businesses. We've been talking about that
Christian
a lot.
veteran business is even better.
Is when you know, as far as how to fight this culture war, it's kind of turning it inward and supporting like-minded companies.
Remember, recycle our money amongst us.
And so he found us on Instagram, and he asked if he could send some over. I'm not going to be able to partake, which I'm so jealous looking at this lineup here, because they do have gluten in them, so I can't enjoy, but I will watch from afar and enjoy.
Strength. So, Flawless Jerky, if you're on here, as soon as you do it, we'll go into this. Until then, do we want to start all that? There's only this left, and then how to start a Christian smoker.
So, okay, guys, tell Jason if Flawless Jerky doesn't come on. So we have cinnamon whiskey cider, which is a pork loin, smoky black garlic, which is beef, candied bacon jalapeno popper. That's going to be your Irish palate one. That's pork. And then vanilla cola, beef, and roasted habanero and pineapple beef.
Which one do you guys want me to do first?
Which one are you excited for? I would be excited for the smoky black garlic or this cinnamon whiskey cider one.
The cinnamon whiskey and the vanilla cola are the ones. I'm going to start with the vanilla cola one.
All right.
All right, so let's see how this goes.
Everyone's going to have to watch you eat. Na, na, na. Mm-hmm.
It's good.
Good?
You can taste the Coke, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, whatever. That's really good.
So are you guys jerky eaters? I love a good jerky. It's a great road snack.
Mm-hmm. Pure protein.
Yeah.
It's going to take me forever. I'm going to take small
You're gonna
bites.
take smaller bites than that one you ripped out. All right, so vanilla cola is approved?
Vanilla cola is really good.
Okay.
Like that's better than anything I've gotten in the store.
I'm always let down a lot by jerky that you buy in the store. You need to like cover your mic for chewing.
Man. All right. Next one, cinnamon whiskey cider.
You gonna go with that? You have your water to rinse your palate.
Yeah. Man, that was really good. Even the aftertaste, I get the cola. It's good. Yeah, that's good too.
Cinnamon whiskey cider's good. Approved.
Yeah. It's not too cinnamony. It's not too sweet. It's really good.
Okay, so again, if Flawless Jerky, find them on Instagram.
All right.
And they can funnel you to the
Now
right place.
I'm going to do roasted habanero and pineapple.
Good luck to your palate. Hopefully it's not too habanero-y.
Man. That might be my favorite. You know, it's got some kick to it. The pineapple just jumps at you. That's my favorite so far.
Wow.
It's got some.
All right. Roasted jalapeno and pineapple. All right.
Holy smokes, roasted jalapeno pineapple is just amazing.
Let's see. That one is that's beef. So you've had all beef so far?
No, I've had the pork.
Okay, cinnamon is pork. All right. Texture good?
Yeah, they're all good. Hey, go here. This one right there.
Garlic. Smoky black garlic.
Since those ones are all kind of on the sweet side.
Yeah.
This is
Hard
like
switch.
going from, no, it's good. It's like going from like golden barbecue wings to like a dry rub.
Mm-hmm.
Really good.
All right.
That's really good.
I know what he's going to, after the show, he's going to be diving into the rest of these. These won't be left. All right, last one.
Candy bacon jalapeno popper pork one. Sorry, I know it's gross. That one's peppery. Good, not my favorite. My favorite would be, I would say my favorite would be the roasted habanero pineapple, followed by the smoky black garlic,
All right.
followed by
Vanilla cola you liked or the
vanilla cola and the cinnamon whiskey tied, and then the candied bacon jalapeno popper was just a little peppery for me. But
All right, awesome.
very great quality, absolutely amazing.
Cool.
You guys want to support him? It's right here. You can find him at
Flawless Jerky.
Flawless Jerky on Instagram at Flawless Jerky, and on Facebook as Flawless Jerky with a space.
Yeah, so they're little there. It's him and his wife, Christian couple. Awesome. So go do your thing.
He's been doing it a while. He can really use the support, I'm sure, with everything going on. And again, he's got an awesome logo. I wish I could show you, but Lauren cut the logos in half.
It was the easiest place to open the bag.
The bottom.
You're welcome for opening them for you.
Oh, man. Whatever you don't eat, you're mailing me right. John, I don't think any of those are going to last very long.
No, those are going to be gone tonight.
They're going to be going, not tonight,
Maybe
but
tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Those are some really, man, those are good. Like,
Awesome.
I'm not even a jerky guy because most of the time they taste so heavily processed.
Yeah.
And they taste chemically. None of those.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
know
sure
if it's because he
I'm
makes
sure
them
those
so
are very
fresh.
Yeah.
But, you know, they all have like a really close Best Buy date on them, which is great. You know, like this one says
just in
Best
a
Buy
couple months.
428. Yeah. So,
yeah.
you know.
Very cool.
Yeah, very, very cool. I could get into jerky with that.
Awesome.
You know, so some really good stuff. So, again, we always love to shout out.
PCM approved.
Yeah, PCM seal of approval.
Aw, seal of approval.
There you go.
That's cute.
Come on, man. That was cool.
The seal of approval. Got it.
Goes right out there with Texas Angel Oil and the best olive oil you'll find out there. I love their garlic oil. Put it in my pasta. It's amazing. Like when you're boiling your pasta, if you don't put garlic oil in there, you're doing it wrong. It just adds a whole new level of garlic to your. It's good stuff.
And
So
then
anyways.
the kiss right after. It's great.
Yeah, you know, Lauren likes garlic, so that's okay. Beer, not so much. Yeah, exactly. All right.
Beer kisses.
So we're all caught up in anything. Is there any questions? And then we're going to jump into our how-to session. You know, and this segment's going to be called How to Start a Good Christian Small Group or Small Home Church. Since there's so many people that do not, hold on, here we go. Concerning illegal entrance, if these South Texas ranchers get the guts and start shooting their weapons, bullets, torpedoes.
Well, Texas farmers.
That will end the illegal trespassing and end the war between Texas and Mexico. Give Texas the victory. Good luck with that. I mean, I support their ability to defend that. I just think that it'll be another Waco scene there with helicopters and, you know, houses burning and innocent people getting killed. So, by the great FBI, you know, which, you know, all know my opinion on the FBI. I think there are good people in the FBI. I think it needs to be disbanded and reformed. I think it's too corrupt, too broken, lost all the trust of the people, as with most of our three-lettered agencies. And I think they need to be gutted and reformed from go.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
All right. So let's transition. I'm going to give 5. Let's see. Any other ones? Come on, you guys got a few minutes here, 1 minute. And then we're going to drive into the how to start a good small Christian group at home, or a small home church to, you know, during these times.
All right. Going once, going twice.
All right. So how to start a good Christian small group or home church.
Mm-hmm.
We went through this, if you guys remember, in order to lead Lauren to Jesus, I convened a small group of trusted friends and some people that we didn't know too well, but knew well and thought well of.
Connected to.
Yeah. And with the intention of starting a small group. We would meet once a week. We would do, our thing is we did, food and wine. Yep. And then, there really is something about breaking bread with one another. And having wine. I know a lot of, our church refused to affiliate with us at that point because we ran a small group where we did wine. I'm telling you, that's some of the best fellowship I've ever had. It was the most honest. I mean, we solved real problems in marriages. We intended, I had this long thing where I graphed out where we were going through the Bible and setting the historical things and doing all this stuff. And when we started, we realized that, 3 out of the 4 couples' marriages were in trouble when we started. So we're looks like we're jumping into a marriage series. And we dove into the Love and War by John Eldridge. Yeah. And it was absolutely fantastic. And I must say that, we said last week, that we really, really missed it. So what we wanted to do was share what we recommend on how to do this the right way, because a lot of people won't go to churches, or their church isn't even meeting because they have a coward pastor.
Or they're not doing their small groups because that doesn't follow state mandates and all that.
All that stuff. But for those of you, I recommend you still gather with people, right? Because I was explaining this to a good friend of mine who is a super solid believer that, iron sharpens iron. And as a warrior, when you're out patrolling, you have a squad with you, and you have an area of responsibility, which is, whether you're pointing, it's a front 180, or if you're on the left, it's this side, right, that, whatever, right? You can't watch everywhere. Someone's going to have your 6. And that's what your small group and what your fellowship is with with the people that you trust is for. To say, hey, you're not acting right. You're not doing so. You're out of line. You're not being accountable to who you say you are. And to have the love and the trust with you to be able to call you out like that and not to get defensive, right? Yeah. And that's relationship takes time. Yeah. And you can't just grab strangers and do that. Right. And that's why, and I'm going to probably offend some people on this, probably on this group. You need to be really careful with who you let in your group. It depends. If you're just doing a worship group, you're doing a Sunday church service, you can put on any pastor in America and sing songs and have a good time and just talk lightly. Yeah, right, and just worship. You don't have to, no one's going to be sharing their inner struggles. No one's going to be doing any of that stuff. No one's going to be saying anything compromising in front of the group. So you can sit there and say, okay, you can sit there and say, okay, we can let people who don't necessarily think like what we do here. Right?
Or that you don't know very well.
But where the magic happens is when you have people that really know you and that you can share your deepest, darkest struggles and be honest with each other there. And there are tears and there are hugs and there are people willing to, getting phone calls at 3 a.m. or 2 a.m. when somebody hasn't come home yet and they had a fight. That is what a small group is all about. Yeah. And it's about you holding each other accountable and locking shields around each other's marriage and families and saying, we'll fight for you. We're going to fight for you. Yeah. And through the good and bad. Right. And I just don't think enough people get that, because that's what fellowship is supposed to be.
Yeah, and we've heard some stories, especially in some churches we've attended, with lackluster pastors that are there on Sunday, but they're very hard to get a hold of any other day of the week when you have an emergency that you want to talk to someone, and your pastor might be who you'd go to. And they had their small group people that they could turn to and really lean on them. And that value there is just, you can't replace it.
Yeah. Or you could have, a phony church like The Point. and Gabe Turner,
Yeah.
who is an absolute coward of a pastor who wouldn't even meet with me after he didn't even mention Veterans Day during a service Memorial Day. During a service, and I just wanted to talk to him. And because I had left the church, because of that and some other issues, they said he only has time to meet with people who are in his congregation. He's too busy.
Yes.
Which, the guy's a freaking nightmare. He's a coward. How anybody can't see through that guy, I have no idea. So the point in Charlottesville, phony as the day is long. They give you great towels, though. Anyways, sorry for the side rant there.
Back to the exercise at hand. So primarily, if you're wanting to start your small group, first thing you got to figure out is, what are your goals? As Jason is saying, are you trying to just get some kind of Bible study level, worship level, fellowship in? Or are you wanting the deep dive experience? And then that is going to dictate kind of your group size, who you talk to, how you host it, and all of those other factors. So once you figure out what you want, also then figure out, pick a max group size. A lot of small groups that we were invited to were huge, and they would have 15, 20 people, and a lot of weeks not that many people would attend. That's why they allowed that many to say that they were part of the group. But you would get weeks that those people did attend, and that's just, you cannot hold a constructive conversation with that many voices, or inevitably a handful of people are always the ones talking, and a lot of people don't get to share or don't feel comfortable sharing in a group that size. So our recommendation was 10 to 14 max. We had 8. We had 4 couples. I thought that was a wonderful size. That was enough for everyone to have time to share. And we had good attendance with that. Sometimes it would be down to 3 couples instead of 4.
Yeah, I would recommend over booking it a little bit. Like, I think it depends, because we've had people drift in and drift out of that as well. We added more people. And again, when we added them, it was a mistake. We tried to draft in 2 people who said they were willing to be interested in learning about Jesus, and they both showed up tanked all the time. Husband and wife combo.
Yeah, that's when our we drink at our thing backfired.
Right, so don't let people with a drinking problem.
And then they got somewhat confrontational. Like, they wanted to debate. Like, it was okay. It's okay to have the challenge. What are your faith challenge conversations? But they really wanted to debate kind of even some of the basics. That wasn't the point of the group, and it sidetracked. It became
a defense of the Bible of every step of the way, and there is a group for that if you want to do it, but it's not when people are trying to work through real issues in their lives, and because you could sit there all day going line through line and debating things, and it just wasn't constructive. So that's kind of jumping into the adding new members and removing the bad fit. Is once you have your core group, you need to figure out, how do you go about deciding who can join at a later date, and if it ends up not going well, or someone that was an original member has become inappropriate for whatever reason, how do you ask them to leave? And I think, especially when you're doing this in a group that everyone knows each other, I think even if one person's hosting it or kind of running it, to be respectful of the group, you need to talk to them and say, I'm thinking about inviting this person or this couple, and sharing kind of how you know them or what you hope for them to get out of it, and essentially get group approval. Because what we experienced is some of our founding members no longer felt comfortable talking because they didn't know, trust, or really like some of the people that we brought in it later, hoping to help them. But it shut down the people that we cared about more, honestly. Yeah.
So that didn't work out. And so then then you have to have your honest conversation with the person that you brought in, or the person that's a bad fit, and lovingly tell them that, that it might not be a good match.
Yeah. I think doing like a couple barbecues or just like getting the groups, inviting them over and kind of seeing if they're a good fit before you start rolling into
test drive.
Yeah. I mean, I think it should be an interview process.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're really going to divulge your deepest, darkest secrets to try to solve them, you really need to have that level of trust. And, you know, because there are things that best friends don't even tell each other because it's not that level of trust. They can't say things there.
Yeah.
Right. And it can't leave that small. What happens in small group stays in small group, period.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
you know, the ultimate, like if someone's here and when we had people come in, particularly Democrat, we had a Democrat liberal come into our group and every one of us were terrified to say some things because we were afraid we were going to be put up on the next like Nazi board or, you know, or blacklisted because this person literally would go and be like, oh, they donated to Trump, so let's shut them down. And so we had to kind of uninvite them.
Yeah.
So, you
So
got to be careful, you know, be careful, but it's such, when you do it right, it is so amazing.
yeah. Yeah, it was a wonderful season.
Such a great support network.
Okay, so once you've decided you want to do your small group, you've picked your number of people, you've talked to the people that you want part of it, then figure out who's hosting it. We hosted it all of the time. Every week, we committed to that. We liked it being at our house. It was convenient for other people to get to. A lot of small groups rotate locations. They'll have a handful of people who are willing to host. So just figure out what's the right fit for you. Think about who's the most convenient for everyone to get to, who's the least likely to be flaky with their schedule and have to kind of constantly cancel for whatever reasons. And in that season of our life, we were able to be very committed to it. And our house accommodates the group size well, too. So we have the furniture and the space for people to all sit comfortably. So think about all those factors because some places are just not going to be right for hosting a group like that.
Yep.
And then also decide whether you want, right now especially, whether this is an in-person only. We at one point had, this is way prior to COVID, but you had talked about bringing in kind of a Zoom element because there were some people who were kind of always traveling and allowing people to call in so that they could continue to have that. And we had other members who didn't want that kind of experience. So decide whether you want it to be kind of in-person only or whether people
I would say it's either in person or it's not. Just because there's the technical issues, the delay, it really interrupts the rhythm of the conversation.
Yeah, I would agree, especially after experiencing so many more Zoom conferences and things recently. I think everyone wants the in-person experience. And then, as Jason said in the beginning, we made it kind of an evening. You know, we did the potluck thing. Everyone brought.
I mean, we were kicking people out after a while because we were just having so much fun.
And so we would bring some wine, and so we would break bread and kind of have catch up casual conversation, while we ate, and then we would transition to the more Bible study or whatever the conversation at hand was for the night. And that was a really warm, enjoyable way to do it. It was a bigger time commitment because, we were 2+ hours, 4 hours, because we added the meal piece into it versus a lot of kind of the more focused small groups. They do 60 to 90 minutes or whatever. But we loved that. It did get a little complicated. Every week we had to meal plan and kind of coordinate who's doing what and all that stuff. So if you don't want to deal with that, skip that or have
I love like someone picking up pizza and just or whatever. You just pick a place and that's what we're gonna do. Yeah.
So pick whatever works for you. But the food component was great. We did allow alcohol at ours. Some groups are going to be more appropriate dry if you have certain, depending on what your members are and all that. So either way is fine. We enjoyed our wine as we do. It was like a home group version of our BYOBB.
Yeah.
Nights, which was great. The next piece, kind of as I mentioned with talking about coordinating food and all of that, is just communication in general with your small group. We had a Facebook group that we communicated, and that worked really well.
Really well. We had prayer requests on there. We had all kinds of stuff. It was where people could go when they needed something. prayers ASAP if they couldn't get you on the phone or whatever. It was just a really easy way to do stuff and keep track of everyone's life.
So versus a text chain or an email or things like that, inevitably you're going to have people who say they're not on Facebook, especially now. A lot of people have canceled Facebook accounts. You're going to have to figure out how to navigate that. Pick a platform that everyone is willing to be on. But having a group like that is super helpful for coordinating.
Yeah, it really helps you share resources too.
Mm-hmm.
So like when there's homework or there's something like that, so you're not going out and like, 'cause some of these lesson plans are pretty pricey, or some of these series and books are really pricey.
Yeah.
So, so it's a way to share resources that makes it more affordable.
Mm-hmm. And so speaking of that between that and food and all of, and any expense that goes is related to your group, you don't want your host to be the one who's always picking up the tab just because they're coordinating. So make sure you have an upfront expectations on how you guys are managing costs associated with the group, whether it's everyone puts in $20 weekly or what have you. Just make sure, because that can become sour grapes for people if someone feels like they're paying too much all the time or someone's never contributing. So get that out of the way as kind of one of your
goals. That's because I remember it cost us a fortune to print off the guides or something for the John Eldridge thing. I just remember it just got really pricey.
So we ended up sending the link out and people just printed their own.
Yep. And it like, again, having that group made it really easy. So just, chipping in for the cost, say, hey, there's so many great things out there to lead people through this, or different plans. John Eldridge has a bunch. Everyone's got a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
So find the ones that you like and then really do that and dive into that. And we considered separating the guys from the gals, but how many groups do that? And I felt like we really get a lot done because we were there together. I think at times, there would have been, if the group had stayed together longer, I think we could have done separate studies away, shorter breaks away. Like this week, we're going to do this here and you guys are going to do that there. I think that could have worked. But I think going through that as a couple with that trusted group is so helpful.
I think it depends on what you want from your group, but being able to work through life issues, which inevitably are going to involve a husband and wife, kind of in the life stage that most of us are at, to be able to work through that together in your group is so helpful, and not have that just be just the guys talking about their marriage issues and the women talking about theirs, and it never actually getting to the ears that really need to hear it.
Right.
So yeah, it's definitely encourage that. And, some people are uncomfortable sharing about some things in front of guys or in front of girls, and just, either work through it, get over it, or have little breakout sessions where you can talk about that stuff. But that's why it's so helpful to have people that you trust, so that you can feel confident sharing something that you might not otherwise.
And when you're leading these things, you're going to have to lead from the front. So you're going to be setting the tone. So you're going to have to get vulnerable, and you're going to have to share things that are embarrassing or things that are not going to put you in the best light, so other people will relax and do the same. Mm-hmm. And I think by having good friends with you, they'll recognize that and throw you a lifeline and do the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. One thing, things to think about as you're establishing your small group, go into it prepared with kind of some of your ground rules, so nothing comes as a surprise later or an irritant later. And one thing that I think that we wish that we had done when we started ours, and we certainly would when we restart it, would be having some rules on people using their phones and stuff during this group discussion. Because we would have members, God love them, God bless them, they would be on their phone all the time, or texting other family members during group, and while someone's sharing their soul,
dumping their heart out,
and their voice to text or whatever, or someone trying to get, one partner was able to make it, but the other one was traveling, and they would try to call them in on the little computer screen they could. So decide what works for you. We discourage the use of technology during this. It's the whole purpose of the small group
is to not have technology. Now,
Yeah.
there are online groups where we might be like, hey, listen, we all live in separate states like we do with our small group. We were doing our small group in the on the boards. That is obviously technology, so we're doing it that way. But in your home, you're craving that interaction.
Yeah, so I think it's figure out. Obviously, you know, if you're parents and you've left kids at home or whatever, you're going to want to be able to check if something's an emergency. So figure out what's the right balance. But we would advise asking your group members to not be casually on their phones or their computers throughout the conversation, because it got rude and just really hard to compete with.
Yeah, one of the ways I would say is if you're going to be on your phone, you need to be out of the room.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, go into the other room where you're just remove yourself from the environment.
Yep.
I understand that people own businesses, they have kids, whatever. If if it buzzes, you got to look at it, see if it's an emergency. You got to leave.
Yeah.
Out of the room, and you can come back, but you can't be trying to do it from the table when people are dumping their heart and soul.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that when I'm sharing something, especially that I'm uncomfortable with, I lose a lot of confidence if I look around and I see people multitasking on their phone.
Yeah.
You know, when we're presenting training, it's the same thing, but also especially when I'm saying something confidential or that I wouldn't otherwise talk about. It kind of it pops the bubble. You know, it'd be like, oh man, they're on their phone and here I am talking about this.
Here,
Gosh, and I'll wrap it up more quickly than I otherwise would have.
Childcare was the last thing that.
Yeah. Most of us have kids at various ages, so decide. You know, I know that there's some small groups that were like, no kids, figure out your sitters. You know, on your end of it, and then there's others that they would say, sure, bring your kids, and one adult would kind of rotate through Kidland each week. So decide what is most helpful for your group to be able to convene. Decide what the childcare needs to look like.
I recommend finding a great babysitter for everyone, hiring them as a team, and sending them away.
That's so if you want to chip into that financially, that could be one of those expenses that you talk about.
It's like, you know, you have your crew that it's Sunday, they know they're babysitting a bunch of kids during this time, and they're taking care of it.
Yeah. So definitely figure that out, because you don't want your kids to constantly be a reason why you can't attend.
Right. And there's just such adult content going on. There's no way they could be around.
No, I mean, it would be impossible to be trying to manage.
When you're rolling into that type of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, so I was thinking, because our life is very different now than it was when we were very free, kidless and free when we did this before. So at the point that we're able to do this again, it'll be different, because managing kiddos and picking the right time and bedtimes and all and kind of all that stuff. So, but it's absolutely worth working through.
Okay, great. So one thing, they're believers, they're not vets. I'm mistaken for vets, but that doesn't matter. They're great peeps. They come from veteran families. They get a text. It's like, no, I don't want people thinking I'm misrepresenting. Okay. So again, just great believers, great good people. Go ahead and support them. Flawless Jerky, absolutely amazing stuff.
Oh, that's nice that they corrected you.
Well, you know,
not stealing that. Yeah,
not doing stolen valor.
Yeah, which
which
would have been on you, not them.
Yeah, that would have been my mistake. So. So what else? I mean, I would just, as a word of encouragement, I would just say I can't overstate how amazing, again, that a good small group can be. And I think it's work. You know, people who are not going to show up consistently, don't have them in your group. Or they can be the floaters if you have enough of a base. Like if there's someone you're working on or a project you're working on, and you know they're going to be in and out of town or whatever, and they want to plug in, that's fine. Just make sure you have your core 4 couples or 3 couples, and then you can have some rotators in there.
Yeah, and decide. You might be in a series where you say this group is now shut down
until the end of the
closed session until the series, because it might be just too disruptive to have new people coming in and out of that.
If you're on an 8-part series and you're on
and not
5.
knowing what's going on, so decide what's best, depending on what format and what content you're doing. But so worth it. And I think right now, people who haven't been able to go to church, we know that there's multiple people who listen to us who are just craving connection. And we encourage them, go create that connection. Go say,
great.
I'm starting the small group, and ask people to come to you. And I think that you'll be certainly blessed by
do
that.
a home church. You don't have to be the pastor. You just throw on your favorite pastor's service, whether I've recorded one or not. You can sit there and, pray in and pray out and do whatever you're going to do. It's an easy day. With technology and all that, you can literally have the best pastors in the world in your living room whenever you want.
Yeah. I think it is intimidating for people to think of hosting and feeling the pressure that they have to be kind of the biblically savvy one, that everyone's going to be turning to you for that. And I don't think that has to be what it is. Some people might be in that position that they can basically be like a little mini pastor for their small group, but that's not what it has to be. But I think that you do take a little bit on yourself to have at least some content prepared, questions prepared, for if starting the conversation, if no one is jumping in, either sharing your own thing or having some questions that you want to ask people. So I think you do need to be prepared to take that part on, but don't be overwhelmed with thinking that you need to be like pastor level.
Right.
To be able to be a host.
So Flawless Jerky just said that next batch will have gluten-free ones in there for my lovely wife.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
So, and
especially
they got more
his
flavors
reviews
coming out and some stuff. So, well, that's kind of all we have for tonight. I know we covered a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, we've
been
at an hour and a half.
Wow, an hour and a half.
Thanks for sticking with us.
Lauren's going to pray us out, and then we're out of here.
All right.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. All right. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this opportunity to have our fellowship with our wonderful community, and please just bless them for spending the time with us and joining us in our journey and allowing us into theirs. Lord, please again be with the families of the active shooter today. We are still learning information, but we know that they are hurting. And either welcome them home to you, Lord, for those people who lost their lives today, and for anyone left behind, if they're not already believers, use this to come into their lives and show them your love. And Lord, thank you for Flawless Jerky, and please bless their company and their business and help them go out and be successful in their endeavor and their spreading of the word that they're doing through this passion that they have. And thank you for bringing them into our lives and allowing us to bless them as well. And Lord, please help us find a place to live, and just keep encouraging us that we are on the right path to following you and to serving you. That's what we all are striving to do. So thank you. We love you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. All right. Thank you, everyone. We love you. Bye.